Get ready to dive into My Time at Evershine, the latest game in the My Time series. Set 3 years after Sandrock, this game puts you in charge of the Evershine settlement as the town's governor. You'll be building up the town, recruiting settlers, and keeping everyone safe from threats like bandits and wild animals. Feeling like that's a lot? Don't stress, we've got your back. In this video, we'll break down everything we know from the recent AMA, also known as Ask Me Anything, event from the developers, and how Evershine stacks up to Portia and Sandrock. There's so much to unpack, so let's jump right in. The gameplay loop in Evershine will feel familiar if you've played Portia or Sandrock. But there's a big difference. You're not just a builder anymore. You're the governor of a whole town. This means you're in charge of running the entire settlement and assigning tasks to NPCs, like gathering resources or building stuff. You can still do things yourself, but the focus is more on managing the settlement and progressing the story. The developers also mentioned that one of their favorite new mechanics is that your relationships with NPCs will actually matter. Getting close to them can make them work better and be more enthusiastic. So, building friendships or romances isn't just for fun. It affects how well your town runs. And I do hope the existing friendship perks in Portia and Sandrock will still remain on top of their productivity and enthusiasm in the development of the settlement. In terms of development, the developers also reflected on what they learned from Portia and Sandrock. They admit things were a bit messy at times, especially with planning and keeping updates consistent. But those experiences helped them improve how they're handling Evershine. While there were some changes, they're proud of what they accomplished in the past games. Which they should, because I love both Portia and Sandrock. One major gripe I had though was their Nintendo Switch releases. Portia had a lot of bugs, while Sandrock's wasn't up to par with the PC performance and visuals. Both of which they did resolve in time, but I'm hoping for Evershine we won't be experiencing those. And speaking of Nintendo, if you're waiting to play on the next-gen Nintendo, don't worry, they have confirmed that you can hold onto your game key until the new console is out. It might however take longer, depending on when the next-gen Nintendo console releases. With regards to Dr. Fang and the Monster Hunter Guild, while he's joining Howlett's Hunters for missions, he won't be leaving Sandrock for good. When members of the Hunters go on missions, their spouses may join them, depending on whether the builder has time to accompany them. As for the builders' past stories, since they're famous across the Alliance, people will mention them from time to time. And I'm actually pretty excited to discover crumbs of lore from previous works of a game, especially since Sandrock's builder is the best at what they do. When it comes to the game's technical side, Evershine will have higher visual quality compared to Sandrock, but it will still run smoothly on lower-end PCs with a few graphic adjustments. So if Sandrock worked for you, you'll likely be fine with Evershine too. On the relationship side of things, non-core romances will still have perks even if they don't feature as many missions or dialogue options as core romances. You'll still be able to date and marry with all the relationship bonus that come with it. And I'm glad that there's finally an official statement saying so. Now I don't feel too much pressure in choosing who to vote for. I do hope, however, that the non-cores will at least get the justice treatment where they have significant involvement in the main story. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. As for multiplayer, the developers have confirmed that, yes, it will be fully integrated into the single-player experience. You'll be able to invite friends to join your world and play together, with co-op built into the game from the start. I remember they mentioned that they're looking at similar multiplayer features from Stardew, but I could be wrong. From an earlier update, the developers mentioned that this time around, NPCs are all unique and not instanced. So if you marry a character, that character will be off the market for the rest. Players will be able to marry other players. Money is shared amongst all players. Items are also shared, unless they're in the player's inventory. I'm definitely excited about what's to come. Save slots were another point of discussion. On PC, you'll have plenty, but for consoles, the developers are looking into adding more, but it will depend on memory limitations. They have, however, confirmed that you can save your game whenever you want, except during specific battles or important story moments. For lore fans, Evershine will feature updates about what's happening in Sandrock and Portia, which is what I'm looking forward to the most. Well, next to the love interests at least. Plus, there will be even more to explore with the introduction of the North Development Plan, expanding the game's world and history. When it comes to developing love interests, the developers said they start by identifying key characters for the story and then refine them based on player feedback. These characters have to connect deeply with players through meaningful interactions, which helps bring their stories to life. And speaking of players, one frequently asked is about building a kitchen indoors. And the devs confirmed that it will be up to you. You can place the cooking station inside your house, depending on how you organize your space. Finally, I love my kitchen in Sandrock, but it being aesthetic only was a bit sad. As for the inventory system, it will remain similar to Sandrock, so you can still complete tasks directly from your home storage, making crafting and deliveries easier. Which I am thankful for. The global inventory system is something I can't live without now, especially in games like these where you need a lot of materials on hand. As for the release date, the team is still confident about delivering on time, though they're reviewing the timeline to make sure the extra stretch goals they unlocked on Kickstarter fit in. If they need more time to make it perfect, they'll let us know, so expect more news about Alpha Access by the end of 2024 or early 2025. So if you want to stay in the know with all the latest My Time at Evershine updates, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. There's plenty to look forward to in the game, with upgraded visuals, better multiplayer, deeper character connections, and tons of customization options. So, what are you most excited about in My Time at Evershine? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you're hyped for. And hey, if you haven't checked it out yet, we've got videos on My Time at Sandrock with beginner tips and some romance basics to help you out. If you're craving more My Time content, go ahead and click on that video. I'll see you there, and as always, stay awesome, gamers!